Okay, last class we have seen how to install TestNG in your local machines, Eclipse, and we have seen advantages of TestNG. So today we're going to discuss on annotations. So what are the different annotations? So we have in TestNG. So we have seen JUnit annotations, right? Like at the rate before all, at the rate after all, at the rate before each, at the rate after each, at the rate test. So these are the main crucial annotations in JUnit. When it comes to TestNG, we have so many suit level you have at the rate before suit, at the rate after suit, at the rate before test, at the rate after test. Even you have a group level. So at the rate before groups, at the rate after groups. At the rate before class, at the rate after class. At the rate before method, at the rate after method. And at the rate test. And then you have another very special annotation at the rate data provider. So at the rate data provider. So which basically help you to do a data-driven testing. And we'll discuss one by one. What is meant by a before suit? So first of all, you need to understand what is meant by a suit. A suit is nothing but a collection of test cases or classes. A collection of TestNG classes. That's called a suit. So a suit, before you want to execute some code, like your application deployments or your browser launching, such kind of things if you want to do, or you want to connect your database. So anything, configurations you want to do before execution of your entire suite, then that code you can keep inside this before suite block of method. So this is the before suite, public void before suite method, and write the code. So this is the all at before suite. So this annotated method will be run before all the tests in this suite have run. So before all the tests in this suite have run, then you can execute it. So after suite, at the rate after suite, this annotated method will be run after all the tests in this suite have run. So, okay, so at the rate after suite, public void after suite, and you can write the code here. So what are the code you want? So that's the after suite block, after suite. So after suite means after all the test cases are done, finally, after suite code, like taking the logs, or taking the, closing your browser, everything, finally you want to do. So then you can use this after suite block. Everything annotation, then below Java method. Annotation, a Java method. So, but you should know before what you want to write, after what you want to write. That's a very important. So before understanding this before test annotation, I want to show you one more concept. So there is a TestNG documentation, okay? TestNG documentation. So go to TestNG documentation. So which really, so very, very nice documentation. See that. So there is a suite file in TestNG. The suite file syntax is, this is the one. Suite tag, name equal to suite name, verbose equal to 1. Test tag, name equal to this one, and classes tag. And classes tag inside you have a class, individual classes you can refer with a class tag. Class tag name, so no package test. Close the classes tag, close the test tag. See, this is the one test tag. Then one more test tag you can add. So every test tag below what you have? Classes tag. Classes tag below you have individual
individual class tag.
Class tag. So one more test tag you want to write, you can write. So this test tag again has a classes tag. Then classes tag below you can have a class tag. For each class, one class tag you will write. So this is another class tag. So name equal to this is the package name dot class name. So then classes tag. Then close the test tag, close the suit tag. So this is the complete suit file. This is with the multiple test tags. This is the one test tag. This is another test tag. So
Sorry, why do we have two class names for this regression test?
you can add not only 2, you can add 100 if you want. You can add here also 1,000 if you want. There is no restriction. Only 2 is not the matter here.
Okay.
If you want, you can add.
Okay. Thank you.
An example, they are given 2. You want 5 or you want 10, you want 50, you can add under this classes tag. Here also, you want 10, you can add 10 classes. So where you want to run, under this test or under this test, you decide. So those classes you mention each class with a class tag, then name attribute and attribute value. The attribute value is your package name dot class name. Okay, that's attribute syntax, right? First tag there, then attributes will be there. Attribute equal to attribute value. So verbose is equal to 1 and test tag. What is this test tag name? You can give a name, unique name for the each test tag. So this is another test, see, regression 1. So like this, you can give the names. Instead of writing all the classes, you can put a packages. Packages below you have a package tag, name equal to this one. So this is the suit tag you can mention, okay? And then you have a, so test, this I will tell you later, okay? This I will tell you later. So classes inside methods, groups inside this one. Now, why I explained this one is, there is a reason behind this. So before understanding, before test, if you want to understand, first you should understand this structure, this suit file. If anybody asks you what is the suit file in TestNG, if you have to give answer with the suit tag, TestNG.xml is the suit file. Then what will be there? So suit tag, test tag, classes tag, class, and like that. Then close the classes tag, close the test tag, and then so test tag starts, classes tag, class tag, class tag, then classes tag closes, test tag closes, suit tag closes. So that's the all the so suit file how it will be. Even you can write it with a single test tag also, not necessary multiple. Okay. Here I'm just giving an example for this. Before test, if you want to write, you should have these multiple test tags. Okay, that meaning will come. So if you are running a before test, so before test means this annotated method will be run before any test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag is run. So the test tag inside classes test method execution before, first @ before test block code will execute. @ before test block code will execute. And then, so you have after test, @ after test, @ after test. So this annotated method will be run after all the test method belonging to the classes inside this test tag. So all this are completed. Then here, after test block code will execute. After test block code will execute for us. And so Here one more test tag is there. The test tag again before test will execute first, then it will come to here. One by one class will execute, then after test will execute. So that means every test tag before, at that before test will
execute.
Then after each test tag, after test block will execute. That's the, so before test and after test. And so is it clear before test and after test?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So this is a, remember, test tag level annotation. What is that? Before test is a test tag level annotation. So test tag inside anything, if you want to execute, first before test will execute, then it will come inside the test tag classes. If you take, this is not a mandatory, but if you take, first this will execute this block of code, then it will go to test tag inside classes one by one. Okay. And after test. So after test, so is after all the test tags, then so that will be executed. So then before groups, after groups. So before groups is the list of groups that this configuration method will run before, and anything. So you can group the test cases, right? The grouping will happen. So first grouping will happen, then you will call this before groups. So the groups before you want to execute something, you will use before groups annotation. So before groups. So at the rate before groups, so public void before groups, and you can write the code here. So then you can, so this will execute your groups execution before first, then it will come to groups. At the rate after groups. So the list of groups that this configuration method will run after. So after all the groups, this after groups code will execute. So basically the configurations, okay, your groups before what you want to run. Put that code here. Okay, then groups will execute. All the group related task cases will execute. Then okay, after groups, what you want to do. That code you can put it here. Instead of putting in each group, so after all the groups you want to execute this code, you write here. Before all the groups you want to execute this code, you write there. So basically configurations you can write with these annotations. And then we have a before class. So you know before class already. We have seen before all in the JUnit, same behavior. So this is the class level annotation. And any test case in the class, first this before class will execute, then and any test method in the class will execute. First before class will execute. The annotated method will be run before the first test method in the current class is invoked. So at the rate before class, and then public void before class, and precondition code for test. So that's the before class. And after class means after completing the entire class, all the test methods are over in the class. Then after class code will execute. But this will execute once only at a class level. Current class inside test method execution before, this before class will execute first, then test method. After class will be run after all the test methods in the current class have been run. So after class, so will be run. So after class will be executed. So after all the test methods are in the current class have been completed. That's after class. Before method is the method level annotation. At the test method level annotation. Don't confuse with the before test to before method. This is one of the interview question also. So before test is a test tag level. Before method is a method level annotation. So this before method is equal to before each in JUnit. So we learn before each, right? So in the JUnit, same behavior before method also. So before method also, the behavior is same. Just annotation change, that's it. See, this annotated method will be run before each test method. Each test method before the before method will execute. So at the before method, public void setup precondition code for every test code. So after method, the annotated method will be run after each test method. After each test method. At the rate after method, so public void t down destroy code. So you can see each test method after what you want to execute. So this code. So each test method before what you want to execute, this code. So that's the before method and after method, how you can execute it. So then data provider, at the rate data provider. So at the rate data provider means you can store the data in the data provider annotation. And then you can supply that data to your at the rate test method. At the rate test means you know already, right? That's a test case, right? At the rate test method means it's a test case, right? So you already know that at the rate test method means it's a test case.
Yes.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. And it's a test. Basically, it's a test. So the test method, what data you want to give, you can store here in this data provider annotation. Marks a method as supplying data for a test method. So if you want to supply any data, you store first in the data provider annotation. This data provider is going to return object to two-dimensional array. And the at the rate test method that wants to receive data from this data provider needs to use a data provider name equals to the name of its annotation. That's a data provider. Basically, the data provider is used to provide the data to your test method. And also it is used to do a data-driven testing. How can you do data-driven testing in Selenium if anybody asks you? So what is the answer you have to give? Using at the rate data provider. So using data provider annotation, you can do that. So then, so this is the demo of this one. So public class data provider demo. So at the rate data provider, you can give a name of this data provider also and create a method public object two-dimensional array method name and create a two-dimensional object array, new object, rows and columns. Rows tells you number of times the test has to be executed. How many times you want to execute your test case? That count is the rows count. The columns count is, so the number of parameters in your test method. How many parameters are there in your test method? Parentheses. That count is the columns count. So based on that, for example, simple, you take a login scenario. So you have a username, password, 3 sets of data I want to give. That's the 3 times I want to execute my test method with the 3 sets of usernames and passwords. That's why 3 rows. Because 3 different sets of data I'm giving. And 2 columns. Why 2 columns?
That's two parameters. Name and password.
Only 2 parameters for this scenario, for login scenario.
Yes.
That's why there in the test method, 2 parameters. One is the string username, string password. That's why 2 parameters. Parameter count is here column count. Then store the data and return that data. Then how can you supply this data to which test method you want to supply? There are many test methods you can write, but which test method you can, so give it here. And that's you are going to map at the rate test data provider keyword. See that camel case. You have to use a camel case data provider and give the this data provider name or this method name. If you don't give a data provider name, give the method name. That's a mapping. So that means this test method will go and pick the data from this data provider. And so this is the parameters. So this is just an example I'm giving. You can add n number of parameters here. This number of parameters count is your column count. Clear? This number of parameters count is this
Column.
Clear for everyone. How can you give this column count?
Yes.
This number of parameters count equal to this column count.
Column.
So mandatory. So this, how many parameters here? That should match here. Then what will happen? First username will come here. First password will come here. And inside the method, wherever you are using, that will replace the values. The second iteration, automatically it will go. You don't need to use loop also. Second username will come here. Second password will come here. Then third username will come here. Third password will come here. Then username, password, it will store there. That's how you can. So set the mapping between test method and your data provider. So is it clear or any doubts? Okay. So next one is @parameters annotation. So this is used to supply the data from XML file to your test method or any other annotation method. You want to supply some value to your parameter. Then you have to use @parameters annotation on top of your annotation name and give the parameter name. So if you want to do this, you have to take a parameter tag in the XML suite file and use the parameter tag inside a name attribute and value attribute. Name attribute is the parameter name you have to write. Value attribute is what is the value for this parameter. You have to write that. So where the name attribute of the tag defines the name of the parameter and value attribute defines the value of the parameter. So parameter names are declared inside the class and above the method. So public class parameter demo. So this is the one. So this is how I am writing it. Parameters. So parameter 1, parameter 2, @test. Same parameter should come here in the method also. So string parameter 1, string parameter 2. So this you give parameter 1, this you give parameter 2. And see these parameter names you have to use here. So that values will replace whatever you are giving the XML file, and that values will come here and it replaces. And how to give that? So this is the one. Right. So this is a simple suite file, suite name, and this is a parallel equal to none. Test tag name equal to test name. See parameter name equal to parameter 1, value equal to value of the parameter. So parameter, why I am writing two parameters here? Because we have written here two parameters. How many parameters you have in test method? That many parameter tags you have to take here. That many parameter tags you have to take here. Parameter name equal to parameter 2, value of parameter 2. So then classes tag, and these classes you are giving these values. So these two classes required these values, or one class require these values. Wherever you declared parameters, not necessary all the classes you have to declare. If not necessary, no need. So only this class is having parameters. This parameter 1, parameter 2, in this class only you have. Then for this class only these values will go, not for other class. Okay, so that's all about how to supply the parameters from XML file. How to do a data-driven testing. So that's all about annotations, and we'll join back and we'll discuss on @test method. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.